I thought I knew my family. I thought I was living the American dream. I was wrong about everything. It's 2 a.m., and I'm sitting in what used to be our living room, staring at our wedding photo while holding divorce papers. The house feels cavernous now, every corner echoing with 17 years of what I believed were genuine moments. Sarah's laugh from the kitchen, Emma's footsteps racing down the stairs, family movie nights where we'd argue over pizza toppings. All of it was a lie, or at least the last year of it was. My name is David, and I'm a 45-year-old architect who spent 2 decades building what I thought was an unshakable foundation. Sarah, my wife of 18 years, worked as a marketing director downtown. Our daughter Emma, 17 and brilliant, was headed to Northwestern. We lived in Westfield, New Jersey, in a colonial I'd renovated myself. The perfect suburban dream. The facade was flawless. Dinner parties where Sarah charmed my colleagues. Emma's achievements displayed on the refrigerator. Family vacations to Martha's Vineyard. Christmas mornings with too much coffee and wrapping paper scattered across hardwood floors I'd refinished by hand. But facades can hide structural damage until the whole building collapses. The unease started 6 months ago. Sarah began working late more frequently, coming home with vague stories about demanding clients. Her phone, once casually abandoned on counters, became permanently attached to her hand. When I'd ask about her day, her answers grew evasive. "Oh, you know, the usual chaos," she would say, delivered with a smile that no longer reached her eyes. Emma changed, too. My daughter, who used to seek my opinion on everything, became secretive and defensive. Phone calls that stopped abruptly when I entered rooms. Weekend plans that shifted without explanation. "Dad, you're being weird," became her standard response to any attempt at conversation. I told myself it was normal teenage behavior. Sarah assured me Emma was just stressed about college applications. We were a team, addressing our daughter's growing independence together. Except we weren't. The first concrete evidence came 3 weeks ago. Sarah claimed to be at a client dinner, but her location services showed her phone at the Marriott downtown. She came home at 11:30 p.m. with an elaborate story about restaurant mix-ups, her hair slightly mussed and her lipstick completely gone. That night, lying beside her as she slept, I acknowledged what I'd been refusing to see. My wife was having an affair. My daughter was helping her hide it. The breaking point came last Tuesday. I watched Sarah sit in her driveway for 10 minutes, talking on a phone I'd never seen before. She was animated, laughing, touching her neck in a way she used to touch mine. When she finally came inside, I was waiting. "How was work?" I asked. "Exhausting. Marcus had us in meetings all day," she replied. Marcus Wellington, her boss. According to Sarah's previous descriptions, a demanding perfectionist who made her life miserable. Yet she'd been smiling like a woman in love. That evening, while Sarah showered, I went to her car. Inside the glove compartment, beneath registration papers, I found a second iPhone in a pink case I'd never seen. Password protected. I stood in our driveway, holding evidence of my wife's betrayal, and felt something inside me crystallize. Not heartbreak. That would come later. Not rage. That was too hot for what I needed to do. Instead, I felt the cold, methodical clarity I brought to complex architectural problems. Sarah had built a structure of deception. Emma had helped her reinforce it. Now I was going to study every beam, every joint, every weak point, and then I was going to bring it all down with the precision of a controlled demolition. I returned the phone and went back to my office. I opened a new folder on my computer titled Project Documentation. Then I began my education in betrayal, starting with surveillance software and a call to my brother Mike, who'd worked private security. Some architects build, others renovate. But sometimes, when the foundation is rotten beyond repair, the only option is complete demolition. The investigation consumed me with the same obsessive focus I brought to my most complex projects. Working from my home office, I began mapping the structure of Sarah's deception with architectural precision. I started with data. Our cell phone bills revealed a number that appeared 47 times over 2 months, all calls lasting between 15 and 60 minutes, always when I was away. Credit card statements showed expensive lunches at restaurants I'd never been to, charges at Victoria's Secret for lingerie I'd never seen, and hotel parking fees that coincided with her supposed client meetings. The surveillance software I'd installed proved devastating. Sarah's phone synced to our Wi-Fi, backing up deleted messages to our shared cloud storage. Reading them felt like performing surgery on myself without anesthesia. Sarah had written, "Can't wait to feel your hands on me again," sent while I was upstairs in my office. Another message from her, "The way you kissed me in the elevator made me forget my own name," sent the same day she told me about a boring budget meeting. And this one, "David suspects nothing. We just need to be more careful about timing," sent 3 days after I'd complimented her new workout routine. Marcus Wellington replied with equal enthusiasm about what they'd done in his office, his car, and various hotel rooms. But what shattered me completely was discovering Emma's role in the conspiracy. The messages between Sarah and Emma revealed collaboration that made me question every interaction I'd had with my daughter. Emma had texted, "Dad's working late Thursday, you're clear until 11. Sarah replied, "Perfect. Dinner with Marcus, then his place." Emma wrote back, "Want me to mess up the kitchen so it looks like I cooked?" Sarah responded, "You're brilliant. Extra $50 0 cents in your account tomorrow." My 17-year-old daughter wasn't just covering for her mother's affair. She was being paid for it. Emma's college account showed regular transfers from Sarah, ranging from $50 0 cents to $200 0 cents, always coinciding with nights Sarah claimed to be working late. I printed everything: screenshots, bank records, location data, call logs. I organized it chronologically in binders with tabs and color coding, the same system I used for construction documents. The emotional progression was like watching a building collapse in slow motion. First heartbreak. Discovering the woman I'd loved for 20 years had been describing our intimate moments to another man as boring and routine. Then, rage. A white-hot fury that made me want to confront them immediately. But I forced myself to think like an architect, not a betrayed husband. Demolition requires careful planning. Rush the process and you destroy surrounding structures. Mike's investigation revealed that Marcus was using company resources for the affair. Hotel charges on his corporate card, justified as client entertainment, but cross-referenced with Sarah's location data to confirm they were together. He'd been giving Sarah gifts that created potential tax implications for both of them. More importantly, Marcus was married. Rebecca Wellington had no idea her husband was conducting an affair with his employee. Through my professional network, I discovered Rebecca's interior design firm was being considered for several high-profitable projects. If word got out about Marcus's behavior, the scandal could destroy both their careers. But the cruelest revelation came from Emma's phone records. She hadn't just been covering for Sarah, she'd been manipulating both of us, playing us against each other while collecting benefits from both sides. When I was strict about curfew, she'd tell Sarah I was being unreasonable. When Sarah tried to set boundaries, Emma would come to me with stories about her mother being unfair. She'd been lying about college applications, too. The partial scholarship to Northwestern? It didn't exist. She'd forged the acceptance letter and used fake emails to make me believe we were responsible for only $30,000, 0 cents per year, instead of the full $75,000, 0 cents tuition. Sitting in my office at 3 a.m., surrounded by evidence of my family's betrayal, I made a decision that would have horrified the man I was 6 months ago. I wasn't going to confront them. I wasn't going to give them a chance to manipulate me with tears and promises. I was going to systematically dismantle their lives the same way they'd dismantled mine, through careful planning, strategic execution, and perfect timing. I called Elena Rodriguez, a divorce attorney whose reputation for ruthless efficiency was legendary. Her retainer was $15,000, 0 cents, which I paid from a business account Sarah didn't know existed. The controlled demolition was about to begin. Elena Rodriguez's office occupied the 32nd floor of a Manhattan high-rise, with commanding views of the city below. She was 45, impeccably dressed, with steel-gray hair that suggested both professionalism and an unwillingness to tolerate nonsense. "Mr. David," she said, reviewing my binders, "this is the most thorough documentation of marital infidelity I've seen in 20 years of practice. I'm an architect. I don't build anything without a solid foundation," I replied. "Good, because we're going to build something that will ensure your wife never recovers from this divorce." Elena spread the evidence across her table like blueprints. New Jersey is an equitable distribution state, but adultery impacts alimony calculations. With this documentation, Sarah won't see a penny of spousal support. Over 2 hours, Elena outlined a strategy operating on multiple fronts. Legally, we would file for divorce based on adultery, seeking full custody and maximum financial settlement. But the real structure involved exposing the affair in ways that would destroy both Sarah's career and Marcus's professional life. The key is sequencing. We expose Marcus first, which eliminates Sarah's support system and probably costs her the job. Then we file divorce papers when she's most vulnerable, she explained. I drove to Mike's investigation firm in Newark. My brother had been tracking Marcus and Sarah for 2 weeks, documenting their routine with professional thoroughness. His office walls were covered with surveillance photos, Sarah entering Marcus's apartment building, the two of them kissing in his BMW, meetings at restaurants where they sat too close. "They're not careful," Mike said. "Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at his place. Friday lunch dates at Chez Laurent. They act like nobody's watching." "What about his wife?" I asked. "Rebecca Wellington runs in completely different circles. Interior design, charity fundraisers, country club events. She has no idea what Marcus does during the day." Mike pulled out a thick folder. "But I've been cultivating a relationship with her assistant. Rebecca's been planning a surprise party for Marcus's birthday next month." The next piece came from an unexpected source. Sarah's sister Jennifer called me on a Wednesday evening while Sarah was at another client dinner. "David, can we talk? I mean really talk?" she asked. We met at a coffee shop in Westfield. Jennifer looked exhausted, her usual polished appearance frayed around the edges. "I know about the affair," she said without preamble. "I've suspected for months, but I saw them together last week at the Marriott bar." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I love my sister, but what she's doing is destroying you and Emma, and because Marcus promised Sarah he'd leave his wife for her. He's lying. I know Rebecca through the charity circuit. They just bought a house in the Hamptons. Marcus isn't going anywhere." Jennifer became my inside source, providing details about family conversations I wasn't privy to. Sarah had been planning to ask for a separation after Emma left for college, believing she could transition smoothly into a relationship with Marcus while maintaining financial security through alimony. "She thinks you're too passive to fight back," Jennifer told me. "She's counting on your desire to keep things civilized for Emma's sake." But the most crucial intelligence came from Marcus's wife, Rebecca. I'd arranged to meet her through my professional network, ostensibly to discuss a potential collaboration between my firm and her interior design company. "Marcus has been working such long hours lately," she told me over lunch. "I hardly see him anymore. But his dedication to his clients is one of the things I love about him." "Client relationships can be demanding," I said carefully. "Especially with that new account his marketing director is managing. Sarah something? He's been raving about her innovative approach." I spent 2 hours listening to Rebecca praise her husband's integrity while describing a man I knew was lying to her every day. The final piece of evidence came from Emma herself, though she didn't know she was providing it. I'd installed monitoring software on her phone as well. Her messages revealed the full extent of her manipulation and her complete lack of remorse. Emma had texted Sarah, "Dad's being clingy lately. Think he suspects?" Sarah responded, "Just keep him distracted. Only 2 more months until you leave for college." Emma wrote back, "Can't wait to get away from his constant questions. Marcus is so much cooler than Dad." That night, I finalized the controlled demolition plan. Phase 1 would eliminate Marcus, cutting off Sarah's support system. Phase 2 would expose the affair to our social circle. Phase 3 would be the divorce filing, when she was most isolated and vulnerable. I needed the perfect catalyst, A moment when all the lies would collapse simultaneously, creating maximum devastation with minimal effort. I didn't have to wait long. The call came at 11:47 p.m. on a Friday night. I was reviewing architectural plans when my phone rang. The caller ID showed Emma's number, but the voice belonged to Officer Patricia Mills of the Westfield Police Department. "Mr. David? I have your daughter, Emma, here at the station. She's been arrested for driving under the influence." "I'll be right there," I said. But Emma didn't want to talk to me when I arrived. "Can you call Marcus Wellington instead? His number is in my contacts under MW. Tell him it's an emergency," she said. The words hit me like a physical blow. My daughter, arrested and scared, wanted to call her mother's lover instead of her father, but instead of heartbreak, I felt the cold satisfaction of a perfectly timed opportunity. "Of course, sweetheart. I'll call him right away," I told her. I drove to the police station with my phone recording the conversation I was about to have. Marcus answered on the second ring, his voice thick with sleep. "Marcus, this is David, Sarah's husband. Emma asked me to call you. She's been arrested," I said. "What? Why would she? I don't understand why she'd want me," he stammered. "She said to call MW. That's you, right, Marcus Wellington?" I let the silence stretch. "She seemed to think you'd know what to do better than I would." "David, I think there's been some confusion," he started. "No confusion at all. Emma's at the Westfield Police Station, DUI arrest. She specifically asked for you instead of her parents." Another pause. "Unless you can help for some reason?" I hung up before he could answer. At the police station, Emma sat in a holding cell, still wearing the short black dress she'd claimed was for a study group. "Dad, did you call Marcus?" she asked. "I did. He seemed surprised that you'd ask for him instead of your parents," I replied. Emma's face went white. Mom always says he gives good advice." "Emma," I kept my voice gentle, "I know about the affair. I know about everything." She stared at me, then tried to shift into manipulation mode. "Dad, I don't know what you think you know." "I have all the messages, Em. Yours too. The alibis, the payments, the lies about college." The tears started, but they were tears of panic, not remorse. "You don't understand. Mom's not happy. You work all the time, and Marcus makes her feel special." "And what's your excuse for taking money to help destroy our family?" I asked. "I needed the money. You're always so controlling about my spending." Emma's expression hardened, revealing a coldness I'd never seen before. "Mom deserves to be happy, and Marcus is better for her than you are." I left her in the cell while I completed the bail paperwork, using the time to text Mike and Elena. "It's time. Execute the plan." By 8 a.m. Saturday morning, Marcus Wellington's world began to collapse. The emergency board meeting at Wellington Marketing convened at 9 a.m. I arrived carrying a briefcase full of evidence and accompanied by Elena as my legal counsel. "Gentlemen," I addressed the board, "I'm here to discuss a serious liability issue that affects your company's legal exposure." I laid out the evidence methodically. Documented proof of Marcus's affair with Sarah, misuse of company resources, potential sexual harassment claims, and violation of ethics policies. I presented hotel receipts charged to corporate accounts, email records of personal meetings during business hours, and photographs. "This relationship creates significant legal liability," Elena explained to the board. "Any employee could claim the workplace has become hostile due to preferential treatment." When confronted with overwhelming evidence, Marcus finally admitted the relationship. The board voted unanimously to terminate both Marcus and Sarah immediately. I drove home to find Sarah waiting in our kitchen, holding her phone with shaking hands. "David, I can explain," she began. "No need." I placed the divorce papers on the countertop. "Everything you could possibly explain is already documented." Sarah picked up the papers with trembling fingers, scanning pages with growing horror. I'd filed for divorce based on adultery, seeking full custody of Emma, complete ownership of our assets, and financial compensation. Sarah cycled through denial, anger, bargaining, and desperation, but I'd heard it all before in her messages to Marcus. Every promise she made now contradicted something she'd written to him. "Where am I supposed to go? You're taking everything," she pleaded. You should have thought of that before you decided I was boring and routine, I replied. The controlled demolition was complete. Marcus had lost his job, his marriage, and his reputation. Sarah had lost her career, her income, and her security. Emma had lost her college fund and her assumption that actions wouldn't have consequences. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. 2 years later, I sit in my new office on the 41st floor of a Manhattan high-rise, designing sustainable communities for families who still believe in forever. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the city skyline, and everything reflects clean lines, honest materials, and structural integrity. My architectural firm, David & Associates, has grown to 12 employees. We specialize in authentic architecture, buildings designed from the inside out, where form follows function and nothing is hidden behind false facades. Sarah lives with her sister Jennifer in a 2-bedroom apartment, working as a marketing coordinator for a small nonprofit, the only position she could find after word spread about her firing. She makes $38,000, 0 cents a year now, compared to the $95,000, 0 cents she earned before she decided our marriage wasn't worth preserving. Marcus Wellington's fall was even more dramatic. Rebecca's divorce attorney was as ruthless as Elena, and Marcus lost half his assets along with his reputation. He works now as a regional sales manager, making 1/3 of his previous salary. Emma, now 19, works part-time at Target while attending community college. The Northwestern scholarship that never existed has been replaced by financial aid forms and student loans she's learning to navigate alone. She tried to reconnect with me several times, but her letters read like customer service scripts. Calculated apologies designed to restore access to my money rather than expressions of genuine remorse. The last message I received from her: Dad, I know I messed up, but I'm your daughter. Don't you love me enough to forgive? I replied with equal honesty. Love isn't the issue, Emma. Trust is. You chose to participate in destroying our family for money. Those choices have consequences. Elena and I have been dating for 8 months now. She understands both my capacity for strategic thinking and my need for absolute honesty. We build something based on mutual respect rather than romantic fantasy. People ask if I regret what I did. The truth is, I regret believing in people who saw my trust as weakness. I built my life like I build my buildings, with precision, integrity, and attention to every detail. They tried to demolish it with lies and selfishness. I simply returned the favor, using the same tools they used against me: deception, manipulation, and strategic planning. The difference is, I was better at it. I learned that sometimes the only way to save yourself is to let everything else burn down. I'm not the same man who trusted blindly. I'm someone better, someone who builds his life on truth instead of hope. Some foundations can't be repaired. They have to be completely demolished and rebuilt from scratch. The final image shows me designing a house for a young couple, thinking about the foundations that truly matter: honesty, respect, and mutual loyalty. I've built a new life with people who've earned my trust through actions rather than words. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.